fall, everyone is sharing in the magic that is Dolly Parton.
They told me, you want to succeed in television, you got to have big numbers. Well, if that's the case, I believe I'm going to be on television a long time.
Dolly, beginning September 27th.
स्टूडेंट्स शो के बारे में सीखा अब आगे बढ़ते हैं
कभी कभी ब्रेक लो, किटकैट खाओ, न जाने अगला पल क्या ले आए। किटकैट ब्रेक बनता है।
I'm not religious, but I was born in a Hindu family, and so that culture is kind of, I grew up with it, right? But then if I look at my childhood experiences, and I've shared this a lot in my personal accounts as well, about how the Muslim culture, what impact did it have on me? I grew up in a city which is like half and half, right? Mm-hmm. And there have been good moments, and there have been moments that haven't been so good. But in the midst of it, it's been such impactful incidents in my life. I had to talk about Ramadan. There's just no way I could not write about it. Similarly for Vaisakhi, we had a lot of Sikh people in my neighborhood. My best friend was Sikh. And so there are these, so I felt comfortable writing about these things, even though I didn't necessarily grow up in that culture. Yes, that's the Vaisakhi book. And so I took on from sort of my life experiences, I guess, to some extent as well. And those all have given us, so far, there's so much to take from that we haven't run out of topics. But yeah, so I call them dancing bookworms, right? And this is where my colliding worlds of dance and books comes into like the perfect, form, if you will. So, I can go into a class full of kids and I can read my book and I can tell them the stories and it's super fun. But then when I ask them to stand up, I put on some music and we dance the story of the book using our bodies. Oh my gosh, the experience that they get and how much they enjoy it. And they truly internalize it because they're using their bodies to do it.
What's up, Steve?
Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, you look very happy and relaxed today.
Well, do I normally not look relaxed, Steve?
Yeah, you do. I'm just thinking back of all the shows. Yeah, you do. But you look more relaxed today.
I'm extra relaxed.
Relaxed, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm needing a massage again soon, so we'll have to have this conversation again after a good spa day.
There we go. Well, this is Kick Unhealthy Relationships to the Curb. We're here every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Steve Vaccaro. I'm a psychologist. That's Stephanie McPhail. She's a clinician. She also has a book. I'm going to talk more about that in a little while, but I must start the show off here. It's my daughter's birthday yesterday. Angela, happy birthday, my happy face. She's got the greatest smile and the greatest laugh. I know she's my daughter I've ever seen in my life, and she's just recently married. She is so happy. I'm so very proud of her. Angela, I if you're watching, honey, that's me and her on the rocks of Long Beach there, Christmas time a few years back, and she's 27 years old. You're not there yet, Steph.
No, my 3-year-old just told me she might need a diaper change, so that's my life right now.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's why we have a little age difference, but not too much. But we're not going to go specifically. But happy birthday, Angela. But also, it's the Australian Open now. I don't know if you're a tennis fan or not, but this is kind of like one of my favorite times of year because I love to watch it. That's me playing tennis.
The Australian Open?
Right, the Australian Open, right. Well, I got cut, actually. I didn't make it. I didn't make the cut. But do you like tennis?
Serena, Williams is amazing. I know that the littlest bit about it. When I've watched it, it's been interesting. I can't really say I follow very much, but I have been following Dredjovic or whatever his name that's not allowed to play, and there's a big thing with that. So yeah, I've been
Djokovic.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
But you know what? There's a lot. I love it because it's in Australia and 16 hours difference. So I kind of wake up in the middle of the night. I do my work. I watch a little tennis. I get ready for this show. It's all good.
See, nobody knows this, but Steve likes to wake up like in the middle of the night and send people text messages. I guess when he's like brainstorming things, he likes to share his knowledge with others.
Hello. Nobody knew that until you just said it, Stephanie. Wow.
I like to share little secrets.
I see that. But you know what, for our tennis fans out there, we have a little clip. We're going to show you about the Australian Open in case you get the urge to watch it. Check it out.
First Grand Slam of the year coming.
Feel great affinity with the people here.
Happy to be playing in Australia one more time.
It's going to be incredible 2 weeks, and I hope everybody will enjoy it.
A Rafa special. Just brutal by Medvedev. Oh, what a forehands. Flew off the strings. Excellent from Tsitsipas. Yes, more history.
It starts off live 3:30 in the morning, Stephanie. Can you make me a deal at least one time in the next 2 weeks? You'll take a glance at it.
I'll definitely check it out. Maybe on the replay, though. My friends in Australia, they will get up in the middle of the night to watch American sports, but again, I'm not the one that's the sporty one. So,
I know, but you know what? I got to represent some of the guys out there because they keep saying, Steve, you have to talk about more sports on this show. And I tell them it's not a sports show, guys, but I got to have a little something of sports.
You do have a sports show, though, right? Isn't there, you've got a few people talking about
sports. We're going to hear from Gil and Dave at the very end of the show. They're going to promote that show tonight because they have a great show coming up. But it was MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day the other day. We all celebrated his vision, his dream, and we continue to do that in so many ways. I gave out Chapters Community Support Services with the help of Kids in Seats, gave out 200 free tickets to the Long Island Net game on Monday, on Martin Luther King Day, and everybody turned out. We had people from the Viscardi Center, from the Hempstead School District, from Prestige Adult Care Center, and we had 200 people that normally would not have the money to go see these games were able to check out this game on Martin Luther King Day. What does Martin Luther King mean to you, Steph?
I'm just always amazed at how he was able to get everyone together and make such a major shift. When people were afraid to stand up and speak out, he was the one who did it with nonviolence, to just not sit down and let people take advantage of you and to stand up for your rights. So I think that's just amazing.
That's right. And I think his dream is, let's Noah Burrows, former Jet player. He helped me out with the Hempstead School District. They're bringing all these kids to this Nets basketball game. And it's about taking the kids off the streets, too, making poor choices and putting them in venues like this to see an event. And, it's really a special thing when you can do that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity. And that'll change lives, is to have that opportunity to do that.
No doubt. I am the producer of Bat Boy, which is a story about Ray Negron and his journey with the New York Yankees for over 50 years. And our show is coming back on April 5th at the Yogi Berra Museum. And I can't wait for that to happen because our cast has been patiently waiting during this pandemic to put a show back up on the stage there. So April 5th at the Yogi Berra Museum. I can't wait for that to happen. And I know Ray is working on a documentary, a Bill O'Connell documentary, which our engineer Carmine kind of acts in it. And he reenacts a lot of scenes where he plays Little Ray. And Carmine, if you want to pop on here for a second, how's the documentary coming along?
Thanks for asking, Steve. The documentary has been a real joy to work on, bringing Ray's life out there, all the great moments that he had, and all the great relationships that he had that helped build the Yankee organization is just amazing. to just be able to represent Ray in that situation. And Bill O'Connell's been doing an amazing job editing this together, getting all the stars and all the amazing moments. He interviews them and just really gets a sincere approach on Ray's life.
Yeah, well, wonderful job. Now get back to work, Carmine, okay?
All right.
All right, there, Carmine, the great Carmine. He is great. He just recently had a birthday. He spent it in New York City. He went to see Wicked. He's just a great guy, great friend, great person for our network. But a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Gabby Petito, and there was some news again. And I know, Stephanie, this is near and dear to your heart for all the work that you're doing. But clearly, there were errors made by law enforcement in this situation, which is not uncommon around the country because they're not schooled enough. They're not educated enough to handle these domestic violence situations. But what's your take on it real quick?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I said from the beginning is that I can't really fault the police officers for not knowing what they don't know. And, you know, even my sister works for the, she's a lawyer in Colorado, and she will often call me and just ask me for my perspective because there's just not enough training out there to know what it's like to be a domestic violence victim and to get really inside the head of someone who is trying to survive. And one of the things they said in there is that they think that she had been dealing with domestic violence for a while, which is why automatically the responses that you saw in the video was her trying to stick up for him and saying how wrong she was and how bad she was and all of that. There really just needs to be more training to protect people, you know, and you know, really in hindsight too, both lives were lost because there could have been something done differently. Right. You know, no matter what you feel about Brian, you know, it's a whole other thing, but he's not here either. And they both could have made it and been alive had, you know, law enforcement actually done the right thing when there was actual physical injuries going on in view of people seeing what was going on. And law enforcement didn't take that seriously and didn't do anything about it.
No doubt. And, you know, your book really highlights domestic violence and unhealthy relationships to a T. So why don't you share with our new viewers about your book?
Sure. My book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, I have a book and a workbook, and they're both meant to inspire people, to make them realize that they too can live a wonderful, amazing life where they are thriving after ending the cycle of unhealthy relationships, that they don't have to feel trapped. They don't have to feel frozen, that things can get better. They just have to take the steps to get the right support so they can start creating something different for themselves.
That's right. And your book is out there. How can people get a hold of your book?
Go right to Amazon and you can purchase them. Just look up Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt. My book will pop up right away, and go ahead and purchase it. And do me a favor, if you do purchase, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on it. Like, please give me a rating, share what your thoughts are about the book. It helps other people that are interested in possibly purchasing the book as well.
Well, I gave you the highest rating you could ever get. So, you know, but I'm a little biased. So, you know, and I've read I have 20 copies of your book. I read it 20 times. So, you know.
It's ready for when I get to go back to Long Island and do some signed copies. So, that's, you know, right. Long Island, get ready for my visit because I'll be getting that arm ready to do all those signatures.
There we go. There we go. And Stephanie, you're a board member of the Chapters Community Support Services, which is a nonprofit organization that we have, a 501c3 that's been around for a couple of years now. We have a network of shows. There's Stephanie with the her bio and everything there. There's me in my nice blue suit and the nice tie. But here, our network, our nonprofit program, we're advocate for advocates. So we do it through networking, collaboration, support, and providing a platform like a show like this to get other advocates out there so that they can help others in such a big way. If you want to check us out, chaptersnetwork.org is our website. If you feel free to donate or support our efforts, we continue to accept that. And if you want to be a guest on our show, feel free to contact us at any moment. We have 15 shows, and we'll highlight some of those shows at the end of this show today. But real quick, we had a couple of unfortunate things that happened in New York. This fire in the Bronx, they just laid to rest all the people that perished in this fire, and it's a very sad thing. We were able to get some funds together and some food and clothing together for people in the Bronx. We were able to give it to the authorities in the Bronx. Those are the people that perished in this tragedy, and it's very, very sad when we're going through this pandemic and when people can't escape an apartment building like that in the Bronx. So our thoughts and prayers go out to that entire community there. And there was also another unfortunate incident that happened at a Burger King in New York City, where a young girl, Crystal Nieves, 19 years old, was working at the register at a Burger King in New York, and someone approached her, asked her for money. She promptly, and he had a gun in his hands. She promptly took out $100 and gave it to him, and this person still shot her dead. So when you look at Crystal, that could be Angela, my daughter. That could be your child. That could be your sister, your mother, your girlfriend, your wife, your cousin. So we need to really look again at those gun control laws and what we need to do as a country to really get them in check. Wouldn't you say, Steph?
Agreed. I mean, the fact that it's so easy for people that already have mental illnesses that, you know, could actually cause harm to others, and it's so easy for them to get guns, that just should not be happening. I mean, you look at all the school shootings, you know, everything. And I live in Texas, and I'm part of a network called Next Door, if anyone is a part of that in their own community. But I keep seeing all of these posts about people getting shot, shooting someone who came into their house that was one of their relatives, about a baby. Just today was a baby shot one of their, you know, a family friend, because a family friend brought in a gun into the house. I mean, it's like every day I'm reading these posts, and it's just such easy access to firearms that this shouldn't be this possible for people to kill each other because they don't know what they're doing, you know, and there's not, it's such a mess.
Right. And I know you moved with your family, you have young children, so you're looking ahead to having them have a safe environment and protecting them. And when you see these things around us, it's very sad. It's very, very sad that when something like this occurs. But moving along, we have an amazing guest today. Do you know anything about Bollywood?
All I know is there's really good music at the end.
Yes. You know what? We have a segment called the Family Feud Moment. And check out Steve Harvey and his take on Bollywood.
You got this, Steve. Come on.
Deeper?
Yes! Yeah. High five.
You do something that's interesting?
I love to Bollywood dance. I wanted to show you something.
You like to what?
Bollywood dance.
What you talking about?
You know, like shake your hips. And
okay.
do
You want to show me something?
Yeah. Would you like to dance with me? Can I show you some moves?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Watch out now.
My parents are watching.
I don't care, but once you throw that on my neck. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once a woman throw this on my neck, it's about to go down. What you want to do?
Bollywood dance.
That ain't, okay, what is it then? I'm sorry, I got caught up. I apologize. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Sorry. Something I used to do back in the day. I'm sorry. Once I throw that rope on you, we finna ride that pony. I'm sorry. That ain't the day. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. All right. Your parents here?
No, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, you the one said you had something to show me. Yeah. And what you didn't know was I had something to show you, too. Oh. Yeah. Wow, that's really nice. All right, we talked to 100 married women. Name something a wife might put in the cake she bakes for a cheating husband's birthday.
Some hot peppers.
Some hot peppers.
Well, you know, I mean, Steve Harvey obviously, you know, is doing his own version. But our guest here, I want to read a little bit of her bio here. Ajanta is the co-founder of Bollywood Groove and Culture Groove, an Indian dance education and fitness company that spreads the joy of Indian culture through movement and literature. Ajanta is also an award-winning co-author of best-selling children's book series with 13 titles. Unbelievable. Ajanta actively works towards raising awareness about ethnic dance and fitness formats, helping parents and educators raise multicultural kids, and helping employees navigate workplace diversity in the corporate world. Her work has been featured on NBC, ABC, Fox, Elle Magazine, Nielsen Media, Sun Times, Univision, Al Jazeera, and more, including our Chapters Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Ajanta. Thank you for joining us here today, Ajanta.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. I know you're in Chicago, but talk about the work that you do, because it's amazing work that you do, because you're hitting home on so many levels with culturally, and you're connecting with everybody of all ages.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in India, and then I went to Canada for my education, and then it was 2004 is when I came to North America, and I was in Silicon Valley for the longest time, and I had a very standard background, if you will, which is technology. I was a computer science master's, and so I was a techie through and through. And then in 2010 we moved to Chicago, so we kind of wrapped lives in the Silicon Valley. We came over here. And I decided to take a break from my tech work and really follow my passion, which was about, again, exactly as you said, that was a very kind introduction, by the way. But it was all about, spreading the joy of culture through formats that are fun. That was really important for me. And so that's kind of what has been the journey of the two brands that we have created, whether it's workout fitness for adults, or whether it's dances and stories classes for the kids, or it's children's book. The goal is always the same, is to kind of spread the message of diversity and make it really fun and engaging for people to experience a different culture.
Wow.
I love, and I'm sorry, Steve, but I love, one of the things I got really excited about was having you on, is that I love learning about different cultures. I love learning about differences in people. There's all these differences, but there's so many commonalities that bring us all together. And I think what you're really doing is you're opening up the conversation to say, hey, look at this cool thing that I have to share. My culture has to share, and it allows people to be like, oh, that's really cool. Hey, and then it gets that conversation going. And I just, it warms my heart to be able to see that that's out there, bringing people in and making them feel comfortable coming in and asking questions and all that. Because a lot of times people have questions, but they're afraid to ask. They don't know they don't want to be rude or, whatever. But I love that you're doing this.
100%. It is so important to kind of lower the barrier. Exactly as you said, nobody should be intimidated in wanting to learn and experience a different culture. So when I came into Chicago, I didn't know anybody, like not a single person. I started with zero network, and I literally built, one person at a time. And it was the same thing. When I came here, people didn't really know about Bollywood dance that much. They'd see me and go, oh, belly dancer. And I'd say, no, wrong country. So it was really interesting having to educate the market and also grow your business at the same time. But that is what we did, even in our communities over here. And now, of course, virtually because of the pandemic, it's all about how can you lower the barrier of entry? How can you teach or however you present or whatever? It should be easy to consume. It should be fun. It should be engaging. And that's exactly what it's about.
But Ajanta, what gave you the motivation, the passion to start this journey?
Absolutely. So initially it was a little more about the joy of dance. So I'm trained in classical dance, Indian classical dance, and I've been performing on stage since I was like 5 years old. And so dance to me has been a very strong way to express joy and also kind of express my cultural background. It kind of acts as a tool to do both. And that was the initial passion, which was to just start this company so that I could get a chance to dance with lots of people. But, then it kind of took a life on its own because as I continued in the journey, we were able to create a community which didn't look all Indian. In fact, we were like 60-40. 40% of the people who were coming in were not Indian. And I was like, this is a true opportunity for us to go way beyond dance. And that's when we started kids classes. And then there, what we did is we said, you know what? We're not just going to teach kids just dance. This is a moment. What can we do? And we added the stories around it. And that was like a profound moment for us, because that's when we made our content more meaningful. And so they won't just learn a dance, they would learn all the cultural stories and context that goes behind it. And suddenly they were getting a much bigger picture, if you will. So the motivation was initially more movement, and then it went to this whole cultural journey of its own.
Wow. This is Kick on Healthy Relationships to the Curb. We hear every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. That's Stephanie McPhail. I'm Steve Vaccaro. We're talking to Ajanta. Ajanta, you've written some books there, I think 13, right? And talk about your passion behind that, but also the process of how they all unfolded.
Absolutely, yes. So my husband and I wrote it together, and we call ourselves accidental authors because it was never in the books. For us to actually write what we, like I said, we started that whole unique concept of combining stories and dances together. Now, how do you present a story? And so what I would do is I would make these sad little PowerPoint slides where I would put together pictures, and I say, look, kids, this is what you're learning about. And it was great. It still worked. Parents, educators, kids, everybody liked it. But it was actually my husband's idea. Vivek was like, you know what? They shouldn't have to come to your class in order to consume the cultural content. We've got to find a different way to present it to the world. And that's kind of when the idea of let's write a book. And we knew nothing about it, like literally zero. And then we basically went to the self-publishing route. This is before diversity was such a big topic. And the big publishers weren't really working on such topics as much as they do now. And so we said, we're just going to go and learn it on our own. So we started literally from scratch. We had no idea how to write a book. We learned about one and the other. We released the first book, and the response was amazing. We had no idea. But it was so positively overwhelming that we just continued to write some more. And then before you know, we have 13 titles now.
Wow. I think we have a little video clip of one of the books and the process that you're just talking about. Let's check it out. Wow. Talk about that, Ajanta.
Yes, that is one of our books. It's about a festival of 9 nights that happens every year. And of course, the date changes. These are our lunar festivals. And the coolest thing about this festival, it celebrates the power of women like the female power in 9 different forms. And so each day is actually a different goddess. And of course, for those of you those people who are religious, they'll look at it in a religious way. But those who are not, there is just so much to learn from it. And it's 9 nights of literally dancing every night, putting on festive clothes, eating yummy food. So much fun. But that's what that was about.
It's great. How long does it take you and your husband to write the book and to get the illustrations? Who's behind all the illustrations in the books?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what the books look like. And so it's a series that's called Maya and Neil India Adventure Series. And we had to find an illustrator in India, right? Because we needed somebody who would have the cultural context. If you look at some of the scenes inside, so I'll show you one of them. This is the one where they're going into the Diwali market, yeah? And it has to be somebody who really has been to a Diwali market to make it that authentic. And so we actually have a company in India and we work very closely with them, and they kind of do the illustration. So initially, we do all the research, and the research is so important. We grew up in India, so we know about these festivals in and out, but it's how do you present it to a child? There's this universe of information. Do you throw all of it at them? What do you pick and choose? That is what takes the maximum amount of time. Because end of the day, if the child didn't sit through the book, the mission failed. They have to be able to sit down and say, I want to find out more. Right. And our youngest audience is age 3.
Wow.
They're not really known for their attention span, So basically, it has to be, that is the biggest challenge. Once we figured out what to add to keep it, give it a fun storyline, then it goes after the back and forth with illustrators. But we can basically, knock out a book in about a few months, I would say. So we once we get our act together, we do it really fast.
Well, you definitely have your act together, but who gets the credit for the illustrations?
Yeah, it's his name is Siddharth Gupta. That's his name. So that's the person we've been working with for years now, and he is an absolute delight.
Wow. And, it's really cool because Stephanie talks about her work with her husband. You're talking about the work that you do with your husband. How cool is that to work with your family, but also to spread education and empowerment and teach your culture to so many people? That must be like the greatest gift you can have, right, Ajanta?
Yes, it's funny that you'd show this picture. That's my son. He was another of the reason and passion on why we do this. And at some point, we actually launched a YouTube channel as well. And it's got lots and lots of free content just about learning India. And he stars in them as well. So it's not even just the two of us. All 3 of us are now in this whole family thing. And yes, it's a lot of fun. Of course, you have to make sure that, you're not kind of, there are moments where you butt heads and whatnot, and you have those disagreements, but overall, we work really well together. We're very complementary in terms of our skills. And I think together we can actually put out a product that people will really like.
Wow. That is great. And you have a host of free resources too. Explain about that, and why do you have them free, and how can people get a hold of them? Because when you hear the word free, it really perks up. Like, I want this,
Exactly. The reason it's free is because we think that high quality, diverse education content should be accessible to everybody. Nobody should be able to struggle to get access to that. That should not happen. And so that's one of the reasons. And also, this is one way that we encourage educators to incorporate more and more of this material into what they teach. So why do we talk so much about festivals, right? So a lot of our work is sort of centered around festival. It's because kids love to celebrate. If you think about it,
who doesn't? It's always fun.
Right? Exactly. A kid literally talks about their birthday for 1 year until the day comes. And so they love celebrating. And so if the teacher has this calendar, where they're like, here are the important multicultural festivals coming up, I can introduce that to my classroom. I can read these books, and here are the free resources. So those were kind of the main motivation why we did it. Best way to get it is culturegroove.com/free. And so those are some that are like sort of digital resources, so there are animations, there are songs and dances that they can literally play along in their classes. They can sing along with it and whatnot. But they can also download printables. It has lesson plans, things that they can, arts and crafts ideas that they can do in class and so on. But my favorite thing is actually a live session. So I have this community. It's a group on Facebook called Raise Multicultural Kids. And it's about 1,600 families right now. Once a month, I do a free workshop for them where all these kids show up, and I always max out on my Zoom on the number of spots there. And, we take a different topic every month. It could be a festival, because our books are kind of about many different topics. So there are books about festivals, there are books about places in India. It could be even something fun like Indian wedding. We'll take one concept, we'll do the story, but we'll either learn a dance about the story, or we will do a craft related to that. I look forward to this the entire month because that's the time when I'm like interacting with 100 kids at least that day. They're all learning, they're all asking questions, which is my favorite part. And it's completely free. So again, these are, I think, some of the ways that we provide sort of, all the resources. And like I said, it's at culturegroup.com/free.
I can't wait to join. I have my son's birthday is actually on Saturday. He'll be 6. So it sounds like, and I have a 3-year-old. So it sounds like that's perfect for this age group. And he loves that kind of stuff. We do like virtual trips around the world where he sees different things, like, oh, this is what it looks like. And, just a little bit of a different perspective.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And we have a little clip, a free Bollywood video that you have. We're going to show that little clip so people get another understanding of what you do.
Final 10. Give it all you got. Slide clap. And tap. And tap.
That is wonderful.
That looks like so much fun. Steve, you couldn't keep up with that, could you?
I was dancing along with those guys. I was. Me and Steve Harvey got this thing down. But that's incredible. All those kids. I mean, that's such a great feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so amazing because it serves two purposes. If they're of South Asian origin, they feel a sense of pride in what they do. And you guys already talked about such profound things about relationships and so on. Mental health is such an important thing. And the truth is that when they have more confidence in what they do and where they belong and where they come from, it affects their mental health as well. It's like if a child is bullying them in class, saying, oh, your food smells different or something like that, which is such a common thing. They can come back and say, no, I'm actually really proud of where I'm coming from. And so every time you do something like this, it kind of builds upon that foundation, which I think is so, so important for kids. And if the child is not of South Asian origin, they're now getting a sense of how people in other parts of the world live. And there are other ways of living. And I feel like it really opens up their mind. And because we're always scared of the unknown. When we don't know something, we're scared, hate, all of those emotions come in. As it becomes the mystery unravels, I feel like that's where we become more understanding. We become more kind. And so in that sense, I feel like it affects everybody. Even in my adult classes, when people come in, I throw in little tidbits of the story of where this dance is from and whatnot. I'm always giving like some information. It builds a bigger viewpoint of the world. And I think it's really important to be able to do that because I think it just makes you a better human being.
Agreed. And by the way, I love, like, Indian food is one of my favorite foods. When I used to live in New York, there was a place down the road that knew my name. Like, they would see me, be like, hey, Stephanie, you're coming in again. I'm like, yeah, here I am. But, I was thinking about just recently, they were talking about the new movie Encanto. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but of course with kids, we see all the Disney movies. And there's this really adorable picture of this little boy standing next to a picture of one of the characters. And he's, the parents were saying like how important it is to see people that reflect who you are. And of course, it's something that I hadn't realized because I'm white in America, and seeing how that's coming up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that before, and how obviously so important it is for kids of all different, diverse backgrounds to see, like, here's someone that looks kind of like me doing some really cool stuff, and how inspiring that is for those kids to see themselves and like what they could do in the future. So that, it's awesome.
Absolutely. Representation matters.
Yeah.
And Ajanta, I know we've talked about this pandemic has hit us all hard, not just in this country, but around the world. Has your work with others increased or decreased since the pandemic, and how have you changed your ways of empowering others?
It's pivoted. So we used to be primarily brick and mortar back in the day. We used to run more than 30 classes a week. lots and lots of students, and we used to work with so many dance studios around Chicago. With the pandemic, of course, that part had to essentially be dormant until things come back with whatever the new version of normal is going to be. But we were able to pivot overnight into virtual, and it actually helped us reach even more people. So in some sense, it actually worked out really well, because now suddenly I had kids from around the country who were joining me every single week, multiple times, learning with me. So as bad as the pandemic has been in every other aspect, this has been a silver lining. I lost count of how many corporate sessions, corporate workshops, and author visits I've now done. I've gone into all these companies, I've gone into all these schools around the country, talking about diversity message in general, and doing my workshops. And I don't think it would have happened if people weren't open to the idea of doing these things virtually. So while it definitely impacted the brick and mortar like completely, I would say on the virtual side, it's actually been a surprisingly good outcome.
Wow. That's remarkable how some of us have pivoted during this pandemic, and you're able to reach to so many more people.
That happened with us, Steve. I mean, we were also brick and mortar. Steve was doing all of his shows from, a specific place. And then all of a sudden pandemic, and he was like, what do I do? And, I'm like, well, let's just go online. And here we are 2 years later doing all this wonderful stuff online and meeting people from all over the world, which is, again, so cool.
Right. And no doubt about it, Stephanie. And what Ajanta, you're bringing your culture to so many people that may not understand. In New York, it's so diverse, but sometimes people don't even take the time to understand each other's culture. They just, they're so, used to moving it forward, paying, working 2 or 3 jobs, that you have to slow down, and maybe virtual is the way to go about it. Now, Ajanta, what are some easy ways that parents and educators can raise and educate multicultural kids?
That's a great question. Okay, so I'm gonna share a few ideas. Yes. One, read books about other cultures. This is so important. Our series is, by the way, on culturegroove.com/books. But in general, books are such a great way, because one, you're building on their reading abilities and whatnot, but you have to make sure that your child's bookshelf has characters that does not look like them. Not only is it important to have characters that do look like them, it's also important to have characters that do not look like them, so they truly get that diversity out there. So that would be one easy way, is just read lots and lots of books. Your library is a great resource, your public library or whatever is close to you. You don't necessarily have to buy all of them. But do that to your child, and there's no time that's early enough. Start when they're a few months old. And the second one, I would say, as I was kind of, building upon that concept of festival, kids love to celebrate. And so if you just keep an eye, there's now so many resources, so many people, including me. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see I'm constantly talking about what else is coming up. What is the next big festival that we want to talk about? And so if you keep an eye on sort of the main festivals around the world, now what you do is, when it happens, this is your moment. Find out a little bit more about it. Find out how you can celebrate at your home. And guess what? It's easier than you think. If you even do a Google search, and you or go on YouTube, it's so easy nowadays to find these resources, but it takes time and effort, right? You have to have that mindset. But if you find it, now the kid is really into it. So when we wrote our, let's say, Diwali book, right? I wanted to make sure that kids could actually celebrate and follow along. We were the first book that introduced the concept of all 5 days of Diwali. And I'm like, I'm going to tell the kids exactly what they're going to do on each day in a really easy way. So day 1, this is what you're going to do. And here's an activity related to that. Day 2, well, we're going to make something. Here it is. I literally laid it out like that. And the reason we always do that is because now, no matter who you are, how much or how little you know about Diwali, hey, you know what? You can follow along. That's a great way to kind of bring multiculturalism into your household, even if you don't know a lot, right? And I give you an example which is very different. So Ramadan and Eid, for example, right? It's you would say, oh my gosh, it's a Muslim festival. I don't know anything about it. How could I possibly, get involved? Guess what? You could always celebrate the spirit of it. The spirit of it is actually kindness and gratitude. And is there ways that you can now celebrate, kindness and gratitude inside your house? Well, there are like a million printables, but take the moment to talk about it, put it on occasion. So on any other day you could talk about, but today, like, no, right now we're celebrating, and this is the thing that we're going to do. It makes kids more excited about it. Food is the third way, right? So easy. And go beyond your most regular orders, right? Think of a different country. Get a recommendation from a person, if possible, of that ethnicity, and then bring that food in. Order a few different things and talk about it, right? Look them up, maybe. Learn about where it is. Food is such a great way. And the final thing I'm going to say, broaden your child's friends circle very intentionally. Of course, in general, we tend to, as human beings, will always find people who we are most comfortable with. And so we always make, even if I talk about my community, right? Like, I probably naturally gravitate towards somebody else who's Indian. And now I have a little bubble that I'm living in. You got to break that. And so you have to intentionally look at who is your child friends with in your classroom. Let's say in their classroom, is there a person of a completely different ethnicity? Well, let's set up a play date. Of course, now it's a pandemic, so things are different. But in general, that is another way. If you intentionally make sure that your community around you is not just people who look exactly like you, but there are people of many different colors and ethnicities and whatnot. Now you're building a real experience, because it's not like, oh, it's a textbook and you must read it. No, you're going to learn little things about them each day, and you're bringing in that cultural knowledge. So those are some of like the easy ways that you can incorporate.
Well, something really funny that actually happened is, so, my son started kindergarten this year, and we decided to go virtually. And one of the questions they ask is, do you speak any of the languages at home? Now, I'm fluent in French, and sometimes I'll speak French. And I didn't go into detail, but I did say we speak another language. They must have thought he was ESL. So when they put him in the kindergarten class, he was in a mixture of all kids that English was their second language. And so it was kind of funny, but I never said anything because I was like, this is actually kind of cool. He's the only like American, like white, speaking English as his first language, really. And it was just hysterical. And he loved it. It was great for him to get that cultural diversity. And, one of the kids was actually in India taking the class, in India. It was just so cool that we could talk about where it was coming from. So I thought that was kind of a funny situation. But then also on top of it, as a teacher, I think that it's so important to be able to do this, because I was a teacher in New York, and we had a lot of diversity in our school. And I just remember kids, especially kids that were new to country, to be able to bring up, like looking at my calendar and looking what festival, what event was going on, and bring it up to them. And I swear, every time I would bring it up to one of my students, they'd be like, how did you know about Diwali? Or how did you know about Ramadan? Or how did you know about whatever? And like the 4 pieces of information that I knew, and bring it up. And they were just like, they thought it was amazing that I did that. But it was great because I got to have a conversation and find out, well, how do you celebrate? What does your family do? And, are you hungry right now during the day? What do you like? So it was, it was just kind of a cool conversation as a teacher to be able to bring kids in by knowing just that little bit about them.
Wow.
You're so right about that.
That's right. That's right. We only have a few moments left, Ajanta. What's on the horizon? 2022 just started. What's your goals for this year?
Absolutely. So we will probably write another new book, because we continue to do that all the time. So there will be probably some new book that will come in. But I think the biggest thing that I'm now planning to do, along with the, having my own ventures and being a business owner and whatnot, I've also spent almost a decade in the corporate world now, before and now as well. And I really, really want to, and it's fascinating to see how many parallels you can draw from the children's world into the work side of things. And that is an area that I truly wish to grow this year, is we want to bring this conversation of diversity and whatnot even more at workplace. And I want to see how I can do that, and how I can kind of share, draw from my experiences, because I know what it feels like to work in the corporate world. And I know what kind of, being worked there, I know what kind of struggles that you might face as a person of color, or as somebody, as a leader who truly wants a diverse workspace, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. I really want to draw from my, almost 18 years of my career and really create something that makes it easier for employers and employees as well in corporate space to kind of take it to that next level and create a truly diverse workspace. So that is some new work that I'm gonna definitely focus on, along with everything else that we're gonna continue to do, working with the kids and all of that good stuff and writing new books.
Fabulous. Ajanta, how can people contact you?
You can definitely find me directly on social media. On Instagram, it's Culture Groove Kids. You can go to either of the websites, so either bollygroove.com or culturegroove.com. You can find me personally by my name on any of the social media, but Instagram is definitely the big one. It's Culture Groove Kids. And it is one, I'm very active there, and I'm constantly engaging with parents, with educators, with libraries, everybody.
It's wonderful. Awesome. And I'm going to check out one of your free sessions there. So watch out for the guy from New York. Stephanie, don't go there yet, Steph. I got to go to the training first. All right, Ajanta, thank you so very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, amazing guest, Steph. I mean,
I know. Don't you love her energy and the excitement for all the great stuff she's doing?
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what? We're going to spend the last few moments talking about other great stuff on our network. And we have a couple of people backstage that have shows coming up. And I believe Ashley Blum, who's the host of Teen Talk, is backstage. And let's bring her up to the forefront because she has an amazing show tomorrow night. Ashley, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. How you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Talk about your show tomorrow night.
Well, first of all, you have to excuse me. I'm in the car on the way to volunteer somewhere, actually. So always a girl on the go, but I wanted to come on and say hi. So for tomorrow's show, I'm really, really excited. One of my goals for the new year was to start doing some mini roundtable discussions with other teens that are close to my age. So tomorrow I have two amazing people coming on. We have Hadika Malik and Devin Frayne, who are actually two good friends of mine. I work with a mental health organization called the Sofia Balsamos Foundation, or TSVF. And Hadika is actually the president of our junior board, and Devin is the vice president, and I'm the social media manager. So we make up the officers of the junior board. So tomorrow's show, obviously we're going to have music, quotes, laughs, like always. But tomorrow is an open roundtable discussion about mental health awareness and everything regarding suicide prevention, and most importantly, just self-love and kindness. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
And Ashley, you do amazing work, but people must know you create your own flyers too. So thank you so very much. You spend so much time doing that, and you get your message out to, of course, empower others. And we love you so very much. So we need to check out your show tomorrow, Ashley.
Yeah, 6 to 7 live. I will be there, and it's going to be a really, really great hour. So make sure you guys tune in.
Thanks, Ashley. Have a great night. That's
Love you guys.
Ashley Blum.
Thank you.
Teen Talk tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I think we have another show here tonight, Flashback Sports, and we have both hosts, Gil and Dave, with us, and they have a special guest, Todd Mercer, here tonight. I'm a Yankee fan. Bobby Mercer, Thurman Munson were my guys growing up, and you have Bobby's son. Gentlemen, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Steve. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. Steve, Stephanie, how are you?
Bill and Dave, good to see you on our show.
Yeah,
great job.
I told them this is not a sports show, guys. You only have 2 minutes to talk sports.
You'd have to speak really slow for me because I don't really understand sports.
Yeah, you're better off not. It's less activated that way, believe me.
Especially if you're a New York sports fan. That's right.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, me and Dave, our idols my idol was Bobby Mercer. Dave's idol was too. So excited to actually speak to Todd Mercer, really nice guy. And me and Dave are looking forward to a great show tonight. And I hope that everyone at the Chapters Network can watch our show tonight. Dave, take it away.
What's more? I'm not sure what's more difficult. Maybe Stephanie can answer. Watching, New York sports these days, or relationships. trying to get out of either is difficult. But
it sounds like they're kind of interrelated, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, Stephanie, check this out. Dave and I went to high school together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I won't say how many years ago, but it was a long time ago.
More than 10.
That more than 10, yeah.
But
It's more
less
than
than
10.
100.
And these guys do a great sports show, and Todd Mercer is great. I'm going to be tuning in. I'm going to be phoning in. So let me in on the line tonight, okay, guys?
Yeah, we'll see. We want to get some callers in. With Mercer's gonna be a great. Mercer was our guy. He was our hero of that generation. He was our Mickey Mantle. So it's gonna be fun to talk to
And
him
there's no plaque out in center field, Gil. What's going on with Bobby Mercer's plaque?
No,
it's on the agenda.
Doesn't Ray have connections or no?
Let's work it out. Let's work it out. My people, Ray's people will talk to your people.
We're gonna.
Ray wants his own plaque, probably. Right, Steve?
We're gonna put a plaque for Ray, maybe.
Gentlemen, thank you so very much tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Todd Mercer and the boys, Dave and Gil. Thank you so very much. I think we have Danny Benson, who has a show, I'm Proud of You, Sis, right after this. Danny, are you there?
Hi, Happy New Year to you both. How you guys doing today?
You have my daughter has a great smile. Stephanie has a great smile, but you also have a great smile, Danny.
Thank you. I mean, I'm excited. It's 2022, so we got to make up for 2 years almost, right?
That's right. That's
So
right.
we got to come in with a positive attitude. So on my show, I'm Proud of You, Sis, we're going to be talking about self-love and self-care, not only physically, but also mentally, because we have gone through so much in the last almost 2 years now. It's going to be 2 years as of March 2022 that we have to take care of our mental health as much as we are taking care of our physical health and our spiritual health. So I want to say I love you guys' show. You guys are so amazing. I tune in every single week. I mean, I get so much relationship advice from the both of you guys, and I'm just so proud of the both of you guys. I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you. And I just say, I love women empowering women. So, keep doing all the great work that you're doing. So important to share this information with everyone. So appreciate you and all that you do.
Thank you.
And Danny is so bright in what she talks about, and she empowers other people. Her show really makes you feel good about yourself, but she also compliments and acknowledges other people's efforts. So Danny, keep up the great work. We love you, and keep up that great work. Right after our show, you got to stick to Danny's show, right?
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Have a great show, Danny.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Steph, we got some great things going on here.
We do. We have some really great shows. It's always such an honor for me to be a part of this network and be able to give back to all the to the community. And of course, as a network, it's really a focus to be able to help inspire others. And those of you who are looking to help others, we'd love for you to come on the platform and be able to share your message of helping others. I think that it's the world can ripple out the positive effects if one person is just doing a little bit to help others, and then somebody else just does a little something to help others. Those ripple effects get felt by everybody. So, keep joining us weekly, keep watching these other shows, and, keep doing all the great work that you're doing yourselves as well.
So, Stephanie, one last thing, finally, we only have less than a minute, but if you had 1 quarter left, and you had to put it in the jukebox, okay? You had 1 quarter left. What song would you put in that jukebox?
Over the Rainbow.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's shut this show down with Over the Rainbow. How's that?
Oh, it'll warm my heart.
But you got to pay up. Where's the quarter?
I'll owe you.
Okay, there we go. Let's check it out. Have a great week, guys.
Bye, everybody.